Thank you to Huel for sponsoring this video. More on them in just a bit.
What is going on there, citizens of the Reject Nation? Greg and Coy here for a bite-sized edition of our pod because we saw Fantastic Four just yesterday. There's going to be no spoilers for Fantastic Four here. But before Fantastic Four came out, Kevin Feige was, I think, on 4 different platforms giving 4, but you know, this isn't working. He revealed a lot about the future of Marvel. And Coy's going to be gone for SDCC this weekend, so we're not going to have a chance to talk about it this weekend. So I was like, but Coy, I think we should talk about this.
Got a lot to say.
Because Kevin Feige revealed an awful lot in these articles, way more than we expected.
It feels like the panel that we didn't get.
1,000%.
Like timing-wise, I was like, this man has a 10-year plan. His July 2025 plan was these news to break, and instead of the panel, articles.
And I'm not sure what you guys have heard about, but he literally talks about like the future of the MCU, Secret Wars, confirming like a bunch of big things. Talked about Kang. He got pretty candid, more candid than Kevin Feige usually gets. Some of it a little bit clever Feige.
Still lawyering.
Maneuvering
He's
around.
very well spoken.
But dang, there's way more information than one might anticipate.
Yeah.
So before we go into all that, please leave a like on this video. Please subscribe and click that notification bell because Coy and I, after this, we are immediately going to shoot a video about the post-credit scene cameo stuff in Fantastic Four. We're going to do a spoiler review of Fantastic Four as well. And by the way, on Saturday, live stream spoiler talk, I'm going to have Aaron Alexander join me, trying to see if I can get Roxy to join me as well. It's going to be a crazy, chaotic one. I'm going to have to read more Fantastic Four comics just in case if you guys put me on edge, even though I read so much going into it, which made the experience
Isn't that more fun?
It does. It makes it more fun. It does. Yeah, I'm enjoying all the comic reading. And, last thing, by the way, we worked hard at this. A bunch of opinions, a bunch of different people getting involved, even myself. We just launched a new Fantastic Four First Steps Inspired tee. Take a look at it right there on screen. You can scan this barcode if you're watching off the phone, if you want to buy yourself one. Any one you buy from our shop is a great way to support the channel. I know that just sounds like a thing that I say, some script talking point, but it really is. We are more proud of that than when you do any of the other ways we do it, just because of how creatively involved we are with these designs, and we love watching the shop grow. So thank you so much to everyone who's buying one, and we call you Righteous Rejects. So make sure if you get one, wear it, tag us on social media. Genuinely love to see it. And the few times I've caught you guys out in the wild, beyond a con, and you're wearing it, oh my God, that touches my heart. So thank you so much.
If I see anyone in a Reject shirt at Comic-Con, I'm gonna run up, hug you, take a photo, and run away with hopeful consent.
That's my man right there.
Man on the street, just attacking fans.
Coy, the Sir Jandreau.
Yes.
Shall we begin?
Let us talk, Feige.
All right. I got some chapters here. Got some chapters. Chapter 1.
Boom.
Secret Wars in the future of the MCU.
Title card.
Because Secret Wars is about beginning. We're utilizing that story, Feige says, not just to round out the stories we've been telling post-Endgame, just as importantly, and you can look at the Secret Wars comics for where that takes you. It very, very much sets up the future. Endgame literally was about endings. Secret Wars is about beginnings. And he also goes on to say, reboot is a scary word. Ooh, Halloween. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. I'm hearing incursions in there. Coy, what is your first thoughts on this? What's Secret Wars context, first off? For though it's easy to be like, hey, look at Secret Wars and stuff, but there's still people who hear that and don't quite know what Secret Wars is. So what is the shortest version you could possibly communicate of what Secret Wars is?
In short, if you're a DC comic fan, it is like a crisis event. Like it's like when you consolidate. If you're not a comic fan at all, if you just don't know comics, when you've got a lot of titles and a lot of continuity, whether it's years of continuity or an abundance of titles going at once, you kind of have to have an event that consolidates everything. And often that kind of resets your timeline.
Yeah. In my mind, I kind of view it in a way like Hunger Games, but instead of districts, it's like pieces of broken universes, smashed together on one planet.
You just streamline.
Ruled by Dr. Doom. and it will decide the future of the MCU. And again, there's no spoilers in here, but you guys saw Franklin Richards in the Fantastic Four trailer. Yeah. And, we had a lot of theories even during the trailer reaction, especially the final one. Yeah. And I think Franklin Richards will play a big factor moving forward, especially when it pertains to what they're going to do here. I feel like there's a reason they introduced him.
I mean, Doomsday is its own movie. And then I know Secret Wars is like the sequel to Doomsday, kind of a part 1, part 2, like Infinity War. So I feel like back when the Russo brothers were talking about wanting to do Secret Wars, that was in the Endgame press tour. So we're talking like 6-7 years ago, I was like, yep, they're going to reset everything.
Yeah.
And it's a really smart thing to do. Like, there's only so much bandwidth a universe can hold. Eventually, continuity gets too convoluted. Eventually, there's too much homework. Every shared universe has to kind of reset at a certain point. We just haven't had a cinematic universe get this big. So I think it's a very natural thing. I think it's really smart on Marvel's part. It's what I've been saying they should do. What's interesting to me is it feels like they originally were going to have the X-Men fold into this one, but now it's going to be a a post Secret Wars X-Men introduction. Because it felt like with Miss Marvel, they were like looping in the X-Men. We're going to start to get that. But if we're talking about new beginnings, I think it's smart to have a beautiful swan song and have the X-Men that we know say goodbye to everything. Bring it all together for one last ride and then start a new team out.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who are Doctor Who fans, this is what I imagine it to be more akin to, especially when the MCU is the television of big screen experiences.
Yeah.
You know, and Doctor Who, they had their classic Who era, and then there was a bit of a break, and then they came back with Eccleston, new Who era. New Who. But it was still a continuation. In the same time, you didn't feel like you needed to watch all. I still to this day haven't seen all of Classic Who, but I haven't seen any of Classic Who. But I consider myself a big Doctor Who fan, starting from the New Who era.
Yeah.
But I haven't felt like I need to watch Classic Who, but I'd love to one day. And I think that's what they have to do with this, and especially off the heels of Fantastic Four, which I can confidently say, and sometimes people say this about the MCU movies, but there's usually a little bit of homework regardless of whatever people say. But this one, there's no homework required.
Yeah,
you literally, and I'm not someone who says the words literally as often as a lot of people do. You literally do not need to watch any other MCU movie to understand any of this movie. In fact, I think there's maybe one tiny Easter egg in here that is a reference to the MCU, the tiniest. But outside of that, nah. Like, it's not even a plot thing. You know, you really don't need to watch other ones. And so for Feige to give these statements during the week when they're proving we can make new movies without having to have you watch all this other shit, I think is a smart maneuver.
I think the timing is very interesting that the Fox, merger is coming in as things are getting cleaned up. I think it's what Kevin Feige's always wanted was to tell the X-Men story and to bring Fantastic Four in. And if everything got messy, why not start fresh? I think it is the time. If you've got too many writers on a project, you got to do a new number one. If you've got too many people having different ideas of what the story is, you got to reset. So I think Secret Wars should restart, whether or not they keep actors that want to stay on is my curiosity. How much of the old guard does transition over? Because Secret Wars allows for that. Secret Wars, the most recent Secret Wars, was so Miles Morales could join our universe.
Right.
Like, it was basically just so the Ultimate Universe could end, and ultimatum ending meant like, oh, how do we bring Miles into our world? And you have these kind of events that incursions allow for us to like cherry pick.
Yeah.
So I could easily see certain actors that have just joined getting to stay, but I could also see it as a way to be like, okay, no Thor 6, like Thor 5s are in. What's also interesting is how recently we just got random green lights of like Moon Knight 2. So
did we? What? I didn't
Moon
even know
Knight's
about
getting
this.
a season 2.
When did what?
They flippantly mentioned it last week.
Really?
Yeah, so like it's interesting. They're like, all right, that means I don't think Oscar Isaac is going to do, like, they'll probably finish that story. So I think that's interesting.
And it's also coming off the heels of what's the Thunderbolts director's name? Jake
Schreier being officially attached to X-Men.
Jake Schreier being attached to X-Men. Jake Schreier backpedaling on his Reed Richards thing. I'm like, homeboy got a phone call. In case you guys don't know, Chapter 2, Jake Schreier in trouble. Wasn't part of the outline, but it's here now. He said a quote that you told me about on our live stream, that Reed Richards is going to be the leader of the Fantastic Four.
Which is a crazy thing of
Avengers. And he was saying, no, I was referring to like how he is in the comics. And
Matt Shakman, you mean?
Matt Shakman.
Director of Fantastic Four. That was the quote.
Matt Shakman directed Fantastic Four.
Yes. Jake Schreier directed Thunderbolts.
God damn it.
And he's directing X-Men.
These names...
That's the second time there's Jack Schaefer, Jack Schreier, Matt Shakman.
All right. I hear names and I see letters. God...
You know what's really funny? Last night, this is a shameless name drop. I'm so sorry, but it's so funny. Last night, I was literally standing, waiting to go to the bathroom. And no, I was waiting to someone to come out of the bathroom, my +1. And I was standing there. And John Watts, Matt Shackman, Jake Schreier were all talking. And I was like, Greg would not know what to do. Like, I had the conscious thought of like, he wouldn't know who those men are. And it was really funny to look over and be like, Greg's worst nightmare of names.
I would just misplace the names constantly. Anyway, Matt Shackman said that. My bad. Matt Shackman said that he would be you update that chapter in the video chapters, he would be the leader of the Avengers. Now he's trying to backpedal and say, no, that's not what I meant. But I clearly... It's pretty obvious, yeah. And without spoiling anything, I could see how Reed Richards, 1,000% Pedro's could be the lead of the Fantastic Four.
I'm really excited to talk about the film because we've seen it now and we're living in the bubble of time before we can talk about it. I'm really excited to see what people think after it because, you know, you and I have talked separately off camera about how excited we are for the future of the MCU. We did not have that conversation the last 3 or 4 properties. We went, oh, that was fun, or oh, that wasn't. We didn't go next. Yeah. We just kind of resigned ourselves. I think it's the first time it's been like, oh, I'm like in. Like, what's next?
Not even Doomsday announcements and chair announcements did that for us.
No, we were just like, oh, that's a clever marketing thing. It didn't inspire.
It was exciting in the moment to go over it. But then you realized, they just gave away a bunch of cameras.
And then when we were done, we were like, I guess that's the news. Like we didn't have but where's Fantastic Four? I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, this is the first time in a while where looking past, it's interesting instead of looking to the mashup movie, which I'm looking forward to now more than before, but now looking forward to what comes after is a really exciting time. And it's interesting because for the real Chapter 2, Chapter 3, the Kang pivot, and the rise of Doom. Yep.
That's what it felt like, too, in the continuity.
He said, he basically said Kang was never going to be Thanos, in a sense. Like, okay, here's his exact quote. We had started even before what had happened to the actor happened. Can't say Voldemort's name.
I wonder if it's like a libel thing.
Perhaps. I mean, Jonathan Majors has no issue saying Kevin Feige. We had started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough, wasn't Thanos. And there was only one character that could be that because he was that in comics for decades and decades. And because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it, and it was Dr. Doom. So we had started talking about Dr. Doom, but even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with RDJ about the audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 even came out. So, in my opinion, the validity of this, because of course there could be truth to that, in the sense of, now that we have it, we started pondering how we can use Dr. Doom. I have an idea. What if we actually use Robert Downey Jr.? I completely can see how that is the case. I find it incredibly difficult to believe. Like the way they're framing this is being framed, or he is framing it, is in a sense going, actually, this was always the plan.
Yeah.
When I'm like, no, it wasn't, man.
They did so much Kang setup.
You had a Kang Dynasty movie announcement. This was not the plan, man. You had to definitely pivot, and it's obvious problems arose from this and affected a lot of your films.
Yeah, because we felt those cracks because of moving Kang around.
Yeah, but what do you think about what he's saying here?
I think Doom was a plan. I think Doom taking out Kang is always what was going to happen. I think
because they had Secret Wars plan already.
Yeah, I think they were going to use the power of like, the bigger fish, and make Doom immediately a threat by taking out Kang.
Yeah.
That said, Kang had like 5 properties like happening.
Yeah.
This is definitely some clever language to me. And I got a lot of love and respect for Kevin Feige, and he's got to handle the business side of things. This is one of the first quotes where I was like, I don't know if you could just lie to us. Because I get you have to navigate language, and I get that there are things you can say and not say in order to like fix your continuity. He's doing the unthinkable. He's making comics into movies in a 20-year shared continuity. So you've got to white out some stuff.
Sure.
But this quote, I'm like, just say it didn't work. Like it does feel a little deceptive.
1,000%. 1,000%. Reject Nation, I have officially lost over 45 pounds this year. I am still working on a couple of extra goals for body composition development, but I'm proud to say I've done it with no injections, no crash diets, just pure discipline, consistent training, and fuel. with Huel. But yeah, when I started back in January, I was like 218 pounds, and now I'm averaging between like 171 to 173. And one of the things that's helped me genuinely stay on track with having such a busy schedule, especially now that we have this like office away from my home, I got a fridge right over there that is packed with so much of this Huel's Black Edition ready to drink. This thing's got 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, slow release carbs, and it's actually a complete meal in one bottle. So I'm not just grabbing a snack, I'm really getting some actual fuel in my cells. Oh, man, chocolate and vanilla, they're my two favorites. They're the main staples, and they are my two favorite ones. No mess, no prep, just grab, drink, and go. Legitimately good taste, no chalky aftertaste. I'm on a strict macro plan, and I could fit it into my macro plan. Low sugar, high protein, super efficient. I'm all about efficiency. And flavor selection's pretty good. My wife actually really likes the iced coffee and the strawberry banana. And if you can't decide between all their wonderful flavors, they got a variety box. And if you're anything like me, variety is a treasure. Best part, each bottle is under $5, which is great when you're replacing a whole meal. So not just keeps your body on track, but your wallet on track too. So if you're trying to lose weight, get a funny looking mustache, build muscle, or just eat smarter and try to keep your lifestyle a little bit more efficient, try Huel today. There's a reason we've been partnered with them for quite a while. You can go to Huel.com, use my code REJECTS, and you'll get 15% off your first order plus a free gift. That's Huel.com, code REJECTS. Or you can just type Huel.com/rejects. I don't know why I haven't been saying that this whole time. I'm all about efficiency. That's the most efficient way. Anyway, feel smart, feel good. Thanks to Huel for sponsoring this video.
And that's coming from a place of respecting him as a businessman or producer. I think there's been some odd talks because of this article where like he's got 2 years left in his contract. And he's like, oh, I got like a 10-year or 7-year plan. He mentions
Chapter 4, Kevin Feige's.
Is that thing really?
No, but we're improvising.
Yeah, chapter 4.
Say it out loud so I could find it easier than when I'm doing these video chapters.
Kevin Feige's contract.
It is interesting how he said that. It is 2. He said his contract ends.
But
he's
got a
2
7-year plan, and X-Men's what he's always fought for. So to me, that was really clever in the sense of like, when I renegotiate, the plan is. But also, I think he's a man that does want to do this for a really long time, and he is having to navigate it. So what I was about to say is like respecting him as a producer and a creative, I do think he's absolutely earned that. What's interesting is that there's been a couple rough years of Marvel, and there's people like, nah, I shouldn't be the guy running Marvel anymore. And I was like, that's an insane thing. He's done the impossible. He should stay as long as he wants because like we're better off for him having that job.
You don't think though that that's a hint that he wants to move on to something else? Like, because the 2-year thing is that's when Secret Wars is done.
Yeah, I think that's a hint for like I'd like that 0 moved over in the comma there.
I want $1 billion a year.
Like,
yeah,
he's been fighting for X-Men.
CEO of Marvel.
Yeah, he's been fighting for X-Men. I don't think he wants to leave right before X-Men.
Yeah, that's fair.
If he's doing X-Men after Secret Wars, he's not gonna be like, all right, peace. Like I set it up, I'm out.
But I think I think he would like to kind of dip his toe into other stuff. I feel like he might want that a little bit in his contract. That's kind of the same thing I think about with James Gunn.
Yeah.
I think James Gunn will reach a point of, I'm just doing DC. I need to do other stuff, you know? And I feel like Feige kind of has that same kind of itch.
Yeah.
So
I think he might if it wasn't for X-Men. I think he's fought literally 20 years.
I feel like he's trying to do what Iger tried doing with Chapek of like, I've done my legacy. I've set the ground. Now you continue and I reap some,
I could see that in 7 years.
Okay.
But not in 2.
All right. We'll find out.
He doesn't want to go out when things are getting fixed back together. I think things are going to be in a really good spot in 2 years. It'd be great to go out on top, but not go out on top right before your legacy of characters takes fruition.
That's true. Chapter 5, the X-Men. He said, when asked about when the reset will show up, he said X-Men is where that will happen next. They have been a place to tell stories about young people who feel different and who feel other, with a capital O, and who feel like they don't belong. That's the universal story of mutants, and that is where we're going. Smart cooking. Like, you've pitched a couple of ideas. You've talked significantly, happened during Miss Marvel, and about how the slaying towards superheroes is developing.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you have people who are born with superpowers, and it's like it's a race, it's a population, and you find out there's been people living amongst you.
Yeah.
Who've had this whole time.
And xenophobia is a huge problem we face, and there's so many commentaries on, people on various spectrums, like sexuality spectrums or immigration, refugee. Like there's so many things about humanity that cause adversity that X-Men can really tackle.
And this is a lot of topics that the young generation is very interested in, and people our age too, who are very interested in this stuff. But if you want to continue on,
start young,
and I think it's a really smart maneuver, and it's very different. It separates itself as opposed to starting with a man in his 30s billionaire or 40s billionaire, however Tony Stark is, So how do you feel about this, man?
I think it's interesting that, to me, it felt like they were going to try to incorporate X-Men into the old universe before this reboot. That feels like it's coming. Miss Marvel being a very key thing. The Registration Act feel. What Daredevil's doing, Born Again, feels very much like distrusting vigilantes. But the big macro problem is you introduce the world, and in your first movie, you said, I am Iron Man. The first movie, you unmasked heroes.
Yeah.
In the beginning, there isn't a thing where people have masks, really. Spider-Man's kind of the exception to the rule. And so it's odd to have a universe that could distrust heroes when we've made them kind of government agents.
Yeah.
And I also have always felt like if you... there's a line, the Mississippi line, where the Disney rights don't reach the East Coast. So Universal Studios has a Marvel park, because on that side, Disney doesn't own the park rights. So out here, Avengers is all the military stuff that the MCU has made. But in Florida, when you go, you can see comic book Marvel stuff that's still a park. Like, there's a Hulk roller coaster. There's giant Kubert art. Everything's comic based.
That sounds cool.
Not Marvel Cinematic Universe based. And that was always kind of a marker for me of like what Disney made heroes was these, a little bit more public facing, but you can't really villainize them that way. Not really. So I was like, how are the X-Men going to fit in if they look like Avengers? And we've loved Avengers for 15 years. Resetting allows for you to have a totally new idea of what it is to be a hero or villain in the world.
I think they're transitioning a reset. Even to have like a brand new day for Spider-Man, I think is a factor into that.
I'm really curious how much the Sony deal factors into all of this, because they are getting Spider-Man's movie out before all this. But is Tom Holland still going to be Spider-Man in 5 years?
I hope so. That'd be cool to have a Spider-Man we can grow with.
That's what I thought they wanted to cast him for. I just don't know if Tom Holland wants that.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
I think it depends on how much control he gets for Brand New Day.
Add a 0 to that check.
I feel like what's happening.
Yeah. Well, if Tom Holland wants to move on, that means recasting would happen. Chapter 6, recasting. So he was asked about Wade and Logan, and he said, I think there is more fun to be had with both of these characters, but we'll see where. But he was also asked on the idea of recasting like Iron Man, Captain America and stuff. And he said, Amy Pascal and David Heyman are now searching for a new James Bond. David Cornsweet, the new Superman. He was awesome. That will always be the case. And replacing icons, though, is inevitable. I think it's hard for anybody to do that when an actor has done such a great role. How are they going to ever replace Sean Connery as James Bond, right? Like back then when they were thinking that. So he's basically confirming instead of passing mantles, that the inevitability of recasting icons in a continued universe. Again, the Doctor Who one. But see, Doctor Who has a lore established that he regenerates and he becomes a different person. So you expect it versus something like this, and people already have a hard time. It's not the same thing. I was going to liken it to like Sam Wilson getting the mantle, but it's not the same thing as getting a new Steve Rogers. They're very different characters. Do you think by the time this reset occurs, I imagine we wouldn't get like a new Iron Man for a while?
Not first. I think X-Men are going to be holding down the fort a while.
Yeah, I think you'd have to really hold off and maybe even tease that there's an Iron Man out there, but not actually show him if they're going to do that with this new world that they establish. But do you think having Doctor Doom, RDJ, will actually help that?
If the performance is as strong as I think it needs to be Doom in general, it will. In order for us to buy him as Doom for a moment, it's going to have to be complete plausible deniability of Iron Man. It's going to have to work narratively that we're like, oh my God, that's Doctor Doom. If we start feeling like he's Doctor Doom, then that gives him some distance from Iron Man. That's the magic trick they have to do. The more we buy him as Doom, the more we don't buy him as Iron Man.
Is there any actor it's kind of hard to tell because it'd be a few years from now, but is there any actor today who you think could evolve into being a Tony Stark that isn't doing an RDJ impression? Steve Rogers is like a much easier cast.
Jacob Elordi.
Really? You think Jacob Elordi could be a Tony Stark?
I would go with someone that is going to be an old money energy that isn't going to play up the snark. They're going to play up the virtue. And when I think virtuous old money, I think Jacob Elordi.
Really?
Because I see it as
unique
like,
pick.
it's like a righteous indignation, right? Like your father made arms, you started making arms, you realized the error in your ways. Instead of playing up the trauma as sardonic, you play it up as heroism. And he's got
Right.
this great altruism to him. Because what you want to do is you find if there's like 5 levels to a character and it's like sarcasm, altruism, like all these things, you got to go the other way with the character while still being true to the character. What levels can you adjust so you're not doing an imitation of Downey Jr.? So I would find the other things that make Tony Stark interesting and heavier that way, as far from Downey as you could, but still Iron Man. So I'd go Jacob Elordi.
Good pick. Damn. That's interesting. I like that. We should clip that out.
Roxy.
Roxy, are you watching?
Does that make sense though?
It does make sense.
Because
You know,
that's what you need to do for a new universe. Like when you start on a new number 1, you need to make sure the artist is very different than the last artist, but it still needs to reflect the character. You need that in the form of the artist that is the actor.
and it still has to be somewhat of a reflection. If you swing too much,
It's not the character anymore.
yeah, but even if you swing too much from the beloved version, you know, like you have to transition your way over there.
Yeah, people are already going to be like, no, never, not my whoever, whatever character it is.
As I don't think that I forget how the Bond actors with the order is. I would love to watch all those movies.
I've never seen most of them.
Yeah.
I've seen the Craigs and like one other one.
Yeah, I can't talk too much on it because I don't really know. But anyway, yeah. Let's find out. The next chapter, I forgot what number we're
7?
on. The post-Endgame struggle. Too much, too fast. All right, here we go. There's a few quotes here. We've had well over 100 hours of stories, and half the time, that was too much. For the first time ever, quantity trumped quality. Then he talked about the Disney mandate, Marvel over-expanding. It was a big company push, and it doesn't take too much to push us to go. People have been asking for Miss Marvel for years, and now we can do it. Oscar Isaac wants to be Moon Knight. Do it. We've always had more characters than we could possibly make. Suddenly, there's a mandate to make, and we said, we have to do more. And with talking about the Marvel and Disney Plus problems, he said, I think the Marvels hit it hardest when people are like, okay, I recognize her from $1 billion movie, but who are these other two? I guess they were in some TV show. I'll skip it. And how the expansion derailed the experience. What we also ended up focusing on because of Disney Plus expansion. And it's that expansion that I think led people to say it used to be fun, but now do I have to know everything about all these? He's acknowledging basically, I think he does talk about at some point in this article. He's talking about the homework side that a lot of people are not fans of, and what the MCU has sort of evolved into. And what I like too is that he's taking his accountability for his end here too. He's not just going, we got this mandate from Disney, it's their fault. He's saying that he saw the opportunity and the excitement about, yeah, we can do this now. Cool. Like, what a great excuse. But maybe pulled the trigger a little too soon. And then now there's, you got to learn from failures, though.
Yeah, I think you have to reboot your comic every so often. Like, if you're at issue 860, that's hard for a casual goer to know where to jump in. If you have an issue 1.
Yeah.
And I think that's how Marvel started to feel to people, was like, oh, it's the 36th movie. Ugh. But like, that's overwhelming for a lot of people. So I agree with a lot of the sentiment, especially once the show's like 8 hours of something to watch a movie is a lot. And I love it because it feels like comics, but like we're more programmed for that. Like I know what I'm getting into, and that's the excitement for me. But the good news is, if Secret Wars is done right, then I get to still have that excitement. I get to still be an expert. I get to still be versed in it. But people get to join on. I don't stop reading comics when there's a new number 1. I get excited to advertise and say, like, hey, guys, a new jumping on point. Secret Wars could be that. And then we still have all the love. And, like, these movies don't go away. These shows don't go away. It just gets to be a new place to jump on.
Yeah, I think these are all good things, man.
Yeah, and I think he's right about the quality over quantity being addressed directly. It's smart.
I mean, yeah, I had one quote here that I thought would be a cool one to end off on, because he does say that, like, the movies over the last 2 years have been upwards of a third cheaper, which has been smart for them, budget-wise, considering all they do. And then he did have this one part where he said, I've always thought if you take success and don't experiment with it and don't risk with it, then it's not worth it. So yeah, some of those risks paid off. We wouldn't be here today with the great stuff if everything that's been great like the cinematic universe. Imagine pitching that shit. That is a risk.
Yeah.
And the risks paid off. And then sometimes risks don't pay off.
And I still think they're betting 700, man. They're batting well. Like they're above.
Yeah.
They're more hits than misses still to this day.
Yeah, and I think after Thunderbolt's reception, maybe not box office, but reception wise, and I think that movie will grow in popularity over time.
Absolutely.
I think Fantastic Four will be a hit, and as of today, the reviews are very positive.
How's it doing?
Let's find out in real time. We are shooting this on Tuesday afternoon, 5 p.m. 87%.
Dude,
It's pretty high.
Makes me
Pretty,
happy.
out of 119 reviews. That's pretty high.
by far the highest Fantastic Four Rotten Tomato ever.
Yeah, for sure. Currently beating Superman.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a 1-to-1 film, 1-to-1 comparison.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's all I got to compare it to. They're the exact same thing.
That's it.
Exact
There's
same
never
context.
been any. Yeah, those are the only two.
They're pretty much like the same film.
My spoiler review is a lot of comparison because there is enough to.
There's enough.
We'll talk about.
Oh yeah, no, I think they complement each other.
Oh, that's exactly.
Yeah.
It. That's the benefit of them both.
Yeah, I think you can. It's a rare case where like, wow, weirdly, you can see these both in the theaters.
I
at
cannot
the
wait.
same time.
Are you doing a double?
No, I'm not gonna do double. I've already seen Superman twice. I'm gonna see Fantastic Four a second time this week.
I'm gonna do a triple with Jurassic.
Nice.
I'm gonna fulfill my childhood dream of watching dinosaurs, Marvel, and DC at once. I'm gonna have a super fantastic Jurassic.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's gonna be a really good day. Like someday in August, I'm just gonna like exist for me.
I'm gonna watch Fantastic Four, then go home and watch Showgirls.
Oh, there you go. That's
Yeah,
a double feature.
I'm gonna really complete
A lot
my
of stretching.
Yeah.
It's clobbering time.
The final chapter, clobbering it hunt home. Anyway, guys. Well, what do you guys think about this news from Feige? What do you think about all these reveals? Does this get you more excited about the future of the MCU? Leave your thoughts down below. Coy, I'm glad we could do this talk. Now let's go on to record some Fantastic Four videos.
I want to say something.
Okay.
These quotes, plus Fantastic Four, plus Thunderbolts. This is the most excited I've been for the MCU since the gap between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that 6 year ago moment when there was infinite potential. This feels like that.
I agree. They've assessed.
Yeah. This feels like, oh, we learned and we fixed and now here we are.
They read the comments.
Yeah.
Don't
do it, but sometimes you got to do it.
Sometimes you got to do it. It's the only place you get the feedback sometimes. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you soon. Peace.